Hi, this is Jackie, and I'm going to do a reading for a feature film that I'm hoping to push forward, and I'll be doing at least one or two short films out of this particular title, and it's called Under the Bridges of Paris. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing a wig because I'm trying to kind of just keep this is the beginning part of the story. And anyhow, here it goes. So, Under the Bridges of Paris is a story that I wrote. In particular, it is meant to put a bridge between New York and Paris. And it's about a left wing columnist who falls in love with a senior editor. Now, the senior editor herself has worked with him for numbers of years. And this is a woman who had been married before, had then, became divorced. And then after this woman became divorced, Sigmund Levintine thought, oh, maybe I should ask her out because, they work together and they work well together. And initially, Sigmund Levintine wanted to become a senior editor, but the fact that he's in love with a senior editor, he couldn't really push forth to kind of succeed her. Now, Amara Lewis, being this gorgeous woman that she is, and the real Amara Lewis, I'm putting this on to kind of like signify the senior editor, is a very blonde woman. And I don't have a blonde wig, so I put this one on. So just to have some fun. So, okay. So I'm going to get it started. So this is a New York street scene. And this is Sigmund Levintine coming out of the apartment and towards his office. Now there's a voice, and I'm not going to tell you until much later who that voice will be. So there's a voice, and he will say, "Let me tell you a story about a man named Sigmund Levintine." Now Sigmund Levintine steps out of his apartment and gestures at the doorman of a high-rise building. The camera will follow his back. He wears a gray blazer with a scarf. Not necessarily like this, but with a scarf. His one shoulder was cockeyed as he looks at his watch and answers a phone call with his right shoulder hoisting a heavy leather suitcase. Some papers are showing, like he hasn't, like he tends to read a lot and stuff things in. He hails for a taxi, and leaves are falling over his head. So it's about, late fall into winter. So then he hails for a taxi driver, and then he goes New York Pendulum main building. And then Sigmund opens a newspaper and reads a column from the Sundial newspaper written by Arthur Collins, makes a face and shakes his head. The driver goes, "Here we are." They already arrived. Sigmund pulls out money while his key slips off his right pocket. He steps out of the taxi. The driver, a hippie-looking man with long brown and sticky hair and slightly bearded, tells him, "Hey man, your keys." So Sigmund, "Oh, thanks, man." And then at the side street of the building, he waves off at the cab as he peers back in. So here's the view inside, the taxi cab, and we'll show him looking in. And he gets to the office, and the voice will say, "Another day in the office. An African-American man in winter coat walks with his dog right outside of this building." Meanwhile, Sigmund enters the door, goes to his office, gives a half-hearted hello to people in the office. He picks up the cell phone and looks at the post-its, picks up his coffee, looks at the listing, turns on the computer, nods at some people walking by. Office noise gets a little louder. A woman hands him a note. A breathless voice speaks. "Don't forget deadline." Sigmund's jaw drops and takes a deep breath, continues to nod and listen to the phone, does a sideways look as Amara walks. Amara has a very beautiful walk, by the way. So he flips open his computer filled with post-its, articles for Qatar, see Waldorf, 9 o'clock, looks at the calendar, Columbia University, 4 o'clock lecture, pre-obituaries, a page with the Eiffel Tower, the Paris Exposition, the Opera, December 22nd. Now, the very next scene is Sigmund sitting in the bar and the man hands him a drink. The usual, see? Luke pours a draught and shifted his gaze to the stage above the bar. His jaw drops. Sigmund looks at him. Sigmund is a creature of habit, till one day something breaks the pattern. Sigmund goes, "What?" Because he sees his friend with his mouth open. And then Luke says, "Is that..." Don't look. So he looks up and he's like, "Is that..." And so Amara on the background is wearing a white suit, standing at the stage laughing while a man behind her dances. The two are busy grinding and spotlights glistening over her beautiful hair, and then Sigmund slams on the counter, looks down, avoiding the scene above. Like he couldn't believe what he just saw. And he goes, "Amara Lewis. Fucking Arthur Collins." So Luke says, "Look, Z, it's just a dance. I know you've been trying to leave New York Pendulum just to ask her out. He's got nothing on you." So anyhow, this is retired for now. Oh, I tried to fix my hair earlier, but it looks like a mess again. So Luke, he says, "He's got nothing on you." Sigmund goes, "He's fucking grinding with her. Look, come on. Like you can't dance, any man can grind." I'm sorry. That was too much for my hair to handle. So, come on, like you don't dance, any man can grind. Anyway, my hair's gonna be a mess. Amara giggling so hard as the lights flash on her blonde hair. It's not quite blonde, but you can just imagine. Scene of Sigmund and Chase dancing in high school. Sigmund looks very geeky. And so it will be kind of like the scene where Elaine was dancing, and it was just ridiculous. So, so Sigmund, "I have 3 articles I need to catch up on. I'm out of here." Luke goes, "I'm sorry, that was a bad joke." And the door slams as Sigmund leaves the bar. Then he's at the bedroom office. You know, there'll be his computer, and the back would be his bed. And he was looking back and forth. It's a very simple looking, apartment. And a voice goes, "He wasn't always an insomniac, but this time an agony comes along with the lack of sleep. Jealousy has a way of igniting a man's fury." Sigmund rides as fast as he can about a comment regarding a crisis on immigration. Eyes flickering, and he rubs his eyes. Took off his glasses and drinks a beer, takes a pill. Close up in the bed, Sigmund having a dream, Amara and Arthur flirting in her office, wakes up. It's 4 o'clock a.m. He tosses and turns. Sigmund looks at his phone and gets up. Flips open his computer and looks up at the Craigslist for a job listing, highlights, comes across a statement, Studio La Vie and Rose, looking for a contemporary dance teacher. He searches for the studio name, specializing in events program, group dance classes for beginners, intermediate, and advanced ballroom dance. Close up on the eyes, then the computer blacks out. Studio at night, camera on an old woman's eye as it opens. So, Melody applies makeup on a senior's lady. This is why I got so dolled up for this. Camera on an elderly woman's eyes zooms out. And then she goes, "You look stunning. You look stunning." So Chelsea is at the front desk typing on the computer as several older adults line up. $1,000 cash slams on the table and Chelsea looks up. The camera on her mouth open. Now the camera is on her mouth as it shows her sensually applied lipstick. I actually put quite a bit more lipstick than I normally wanted to. So Sigmund, with beard and sticky curly hair, appears in front of her. Chelsea's eyes wide open as Sigmund peers at her intensely. Okay, so where are we? Chelsea's eyes wide open as Sigmund peers at her intensely with his thick-rimmed glasses. She blinks and pulls her head away. Okay, like what is this guy doing? Slapping me with money? Well, well, says the voice. Look who is here. Standing right outside the glass of the studio is a man. He crosses his arms. And then Sigmund is inside the studio. He says, I need to learn how to dance. I need to learn how to dance. Sir, this is not an escorting service. The class is only $400 for 6 sessions and 2 lessons are free. Sigmund takes $400 and places the rest on the arts fund. He says to take $400 and take the rest for the arts funds. Chelsea, well, we'll be more than glad to help you. Here's the application, Mr. Sigmund says, Z? Just call me Z. Just email me the amount for tax deduction. It'll be my pleasure, Mr. Z. Have a seat. And then she turns to Bertie, an elderly lady. Miss Bertie, don't you look wonderful? And then Sigmund looks nauseated at the excessively sweet voice of Chelsea, writes on the application and twirls the pen. So he's kind of nervous and twirls the pen. Turns on the computer. Turns in the paper. Just the best teacher you've got, Miss Chelsea. I knew about this. She goes, so we're going to end it right here and we shall continue with Dance Room.